Hello everybody, this is the 48th lecture for us with Mr. Haidar Qasir. Today we are answering Book 15 Academic Test 4 Reading Passage 2. Silbo Gomero, the whistle language of the Canary Islands. And also, by the way, you may say the whistle, and both is correct. In British English, both pronunciation is correct. Okay, we move on to the questions. Question number 1, from 14 to 19 says true, false, not given. If it is a true, you write a true. If it is not found or different, if it has different information, it's false. And if you can't find it, it's not given. So, number 14 says La Gomera is the most mountainous of all the Canary Islands. 15. Silbo is only appropriate for short and simple messages. 16. In the brain activity study, Silbados and non-whistlers produced different results. 17. The Spanish introduced silbo to the islands in the 15th century. 18. There is precise data available regarding all of the whistle languages in existence today. 19. The children of Gomera now learn silbo. Let's see. Number 1. La Gomera is the most mountainous of all the Canary Islands. La Gomera is one of the Canary Islands situated in the Atlantic Ocean off the northwest coast of Africa. This small volcanic island is mountainous with steep rocky slopes and deep wooded ravines rising to 1487 meters at its highest peak. It's also home to the best known of the world's whistle languages, a means of transmitting information over long distances which is perfectly adapted to the extreme terrain of the island. Okay, it doesn't say is the most mountainous of all the Canary Islands or it's the least mountainous. It doesn't say any of them. So yes, it's mountainous, but it doesn't say the most or the least. So in this case, this will be not given. Let's move to 15. Says silbo is only appropriate for short and simple messages. This language, known as silbo or silbo gomero from the Spanish word for whistle, is now shedding light on the language processing abilities of the human brain. According to scientists, researchers say that silbo activates parts of the brain normally associated with spoken language, suggesting that the brain is remarkably flexible in its ability to interpret sounds as language. Let's go on. Science has developed the idea of a brain areas that are dedicated to language, and we are starting to understand the scope of signals that can be recognized as language, says David Corina, co-author of a recent study and associate professor of psychology of the University of Washington in Seattle. So, in this case, let's go on to check. Let's see number 16 also. The brain activity study, Cibados and non-whistlers produce different results. Let's see 15 and 16 together. Silbo is a substitute of Spanish with individual word recorded into whistle which have high and low frequency tones. Okay. A whistler or silbador puts a finger in his or her mouth to increase the whistle's pitch, while the other hand can be cupped to adjust the direction of the sound. There is much more ambiguity in the whistled signal than in the spoken signal, explains lead researcher Manuel Carreras, psychology professor of the University of Laguna on the Canary island of Tenerife, because whistled words can be hard to distinguish. Silbados rely on repetition as well as awareness of context to make themselves understand. Okay. 15 says syllable is only appropriate for short and simple messages. I can't see here until now. So let's see. Let's go on with the other paragraphs to check. It says the Silbados of Gomera are traditionally shepherds and other isolated mountain folk, and their novel means of staying in touch allows them to communicate over distances of up to 10 kilometers. Carreras explains that Silbados are able to pass a surprising amount of information via their whistles. Okay, let's come here. Carreras explains that Silbados are able to pass a surprising amount of information via their whistles. In daily life, they use whistles to communicate short commands, but any Spanish sentence could be whistled. Syllable has proved particularly useful when fires have occurred on the island, and rapid communication across large areas has been vital. Syllable is only appropriate for short and simple messages. False. Number 15 will be false. Why? Because here in the third line says, Carreras explains the Silbados are able to pass a surprising amount of information via their whistles. That means via their messages. So it can transmit lots of messages, and just like speaking a language. 16 says, in the brain activity study, Silbados and non-whistles produce different results. Yes, it's true. It's true. Okay. 17 says, the Spanish introduced syllable to the islands in the 15th century. Let's see. Let's look for 15th century. The next paragraph talks about the study of neuroimaging equipment and these things. It doesn't talk about the 15th century. The other one provide more evidence about the flexibility of a human capacity of language. Okay, that means it doesn't talk about how it has been to this island. So let's see the last paragraph on this page. Let's see. Carreras says that the origins of syllable Gomero remain obscure, but the indigenous Canary Islanders, who were of North Africa origin, already had a whistled language when Spain conquered the volcanic islands in the 15th century. Whistled languages survive today in Papua New Guinea, Mexico, Vietnam, Guyana, China, Nepal, Senegal, and a few mountainous pockets in southern Europe. They are thought to be as many as 70 whistled languages still in use, though only 12 have been described and studied scientifically. This form of communication is an adaptation found among cultures where people are often isolated from each other. According to Julian Mayer, a researcher of the Institute of sciences in Lyon, France. They are mostly used in mountains or dense forests. He says, whistled languages are blah blah blah. Okay, let's go back to the second line. Already had a whistled language when Spain conquered the volcanic islands in the 15th century. Whistled languages over. Okay, so 17, the Spanish introduced silbo to the islands in the 15th century. This is false because it says different information here. Okay, let's move on to C number 18. There is a precise data available regarding of the whistle language in existence today. And 19 says the children of Gomera now learn Silbo. But with modern communication technology, now widely available, researchers say whistled languages like Silbo are threatened with extinction. With dwindling numbers of Gomera Islanders still fluent in the language, Canaries authorities are taking steps to try to ensure its survival. Since 1990, Silbo Gomera has been taught in all of the islands' elementary schools. In addition, locals are seeking assistance from the United Nations Education. Okay, so number 19 will be true, but we need to check number 18. Number 18 we said also false because we don't have a precise data. Okay, if you have, we move now to the other questions, which are one word only. It says it's gaps and they say choose one word only. Silbo Gomero. How Silbo is produced. As I remember that from the paragraphs we leave the first paragraph, we also leave the second paragraph, we leave the third paragraph too, because I still remember that we started in Silbo, the fourth paragraph. It talks about how it's produced. It says, the question says, high and low frequency tones represent different sounds in Spanish. Silbo is a substitute of Spanish with individual words recorded into whistles which have high and low frequency tones. And here it says high and low frequency, so tones represent different sounds in Spanish words. Number 20 means words. Okay, 21. Pitch of whistle is controlled using silbados. Let's see. A whistler or silbador puts a finger in his or her mouth to increase the whistle's pitch. So the answer will be finger. 20 will be words, 21 will be finger. Let's see 22. Gap is changed with a cupped hand to increase the pitch, while the other hand can be cupped to adjust the direction of the sound. So adjust, that means to change here. So that means number 22 will be direction. Direction is changed with a cupped hand. Let's see 23. It says in every use for the transmission of a brief gap. Let's look for 23. Is much on recruiting results spoken signals, explains lead research Manuel Carres, professor of the University of La Laguna of the Canary Island of Tenerife, because whistled words can be hard to distinguish. Silbados rely on repetition as well as awareness of context to make themselves understood. Okay, let's move to the other paragraph. It says the silbados of Gomera are traditionally shepherds and other isolated mountain folk, and their novel means of staying in touch allows them to communicate over distances of up to 10 kilometers. Carras explains that Salvadors are able to pass a surprising amount of information via their whistles. In daily life, they use whistles to communicate short commands. It talks about the transmission and the communication. So let's check 23. Has long been used by shepherds, okay, it's used by shepherds and people living in secluded locations in every use for the transmission of a brief. And here it says, Carras explains that Salvadors are able to pass a surprising amount of information via their whistles, okay. In daily life, they use whistles to communicate short, brief commands. So the answer will be commands of 23. Let's see. 24. Can relay essential information quickly, for example, to inform people about. Let's see here. A Spanish sentence could be whistles proved particularly useful when fires have occurred. And it says here, can relay essential information quickly, for example, to inform people about fires. As an example, we have fires. Number 24 will be fires. Okay. The future of Silbo. Future under threat because of a new. If you remember when we studied the future, it's in the last paragraph or in the last two paragraphs. Let us check. Here it talks about a study team, about equipment. Here, this paragraph, I'm checking it silently, by the way, because it has nothing to talk about the future. We move on to the following paragraph, the last three paragraphs. One of them talks about the future. Resource, flexibility, capacity, language, okay, variety. The data, okay. It has nothing about the future. This one. Let's see here before the last one. Also talks and says nothing about the future, so we move immediately to the last paragraph, which says, but with modern communication technology now widely available, researchers say whistled languages like Silbo are threatened with extinction. So future under threat, yes, because of a new, we have modern and a new technology. Yes, we cannot say communication technology because it says one word only. We cannot say communication. Why? Because technology is the main word here, it's the head word. So we use technology. 25 will be technology. 26. Canaries authorities hoping to receive a UNESCO gap to help preserve it. Okay, so I find the word UNESCO here. So let's start from the sentence which says, in addition, the last one lines, in addition, locals are seeking assistance from the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. The local authorities are trying to get an award from the organization to declare Silbo Gomero. Canaries authorities hoping to receive a UNESCO gap to help preserve it. Yes, so the answer will be here will be award, because they are looking for receiving UNESCO award. So now we come to the end of our lecture. If you liked it, please just press the button of subscribe. If you have any questions, write it in the If you have any questions, just write them in the comments. If you have any criticism, write it in the comments too. Thanks for watching. That was Mr. Haidar Qasir with you. Thank you.